All right, you guys, today we have Brian Cleespies from HR is here. He wants to talk to us a little bit about ergonomics so we can all be a little less stiff and sore at the end of the day. I really don't want you guys getting any of the carpal tunnel or any of those other things. Before he starts, if you do not have InDesign 2017 already on your computer, please let me know. Send me an email or a hip chat or a G chat or a smoke signal or whatever. Just make sure you get me that message and I will get you the instructions on how to install it on your computer. We should be to that full time pretty much by Wednesday of next week, so I'd like to get it all to you sooner rather than later. So, all right, I will turn it over to Brian.
Sounds good. Hello, everybody. For those I have not met, I'm Brian Cleespies. I work in the corporate office here at the Forum. I just want to talk a little bit about ergonomics. I talked to Alicia a little bit about this, and I kind of wanted to cater what I'm talking about to what you guys do. So what I'll go through here is a little bit of just some summary on some of the areas that I see most often with computer dominant work. Probably the three things I see most often with graphics design, those types of jobs, are going to be complaints of arm strain, wrist strain, back and shoulder strain. Mostly that comes from how you're set up in your computer and how you're seated. There's a couple of different ways I'll show you this. This is a good example. This is what I use when I go out to do ergonomic assessments. So, and this is actually in a guide I'll send and share with everyone too, so you have it. But there's really three areas that I look for when I'm looking at ergonomics. I usually start from the floor and go up to the computer. It's usually the easiest way, and it usually works out the best. So typically what you want to have is you want your knees and legs and that angle to be about 90 to 100 degrees, somewhere in that range. And you want your elbows and your arms to be at that about 90 to 100 degree range or so too. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but that's kind of what we're shooting for. So you've kind of got that right angle look when you're sitting. Typically your vertical position when you're seated is going to be actually a little more than 90 degrees, not quite straight up and down, because you can kind of start feeling like you're falling forward, but more like 100 degree, 110 degree angle. That seems to be the best and works out the best for most people. So what I do is I'll start off on the floor, make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. If they're dangling, that's a good sign. We want to make sure we take care of that right away. Usually we use a footrest or something along that sort. Or if we have to, or if we can adjust the chair down. It just really depends on how it fits with the desk. The second thing I would look at is making sure that you can get under your desk as far as your knees go, so you can fit underneath there and still work. So that might require us to do some experimenting with your desk if it's not adjustable. But usually we can find a level for that. So if you're able to fit under your desk, at that point then we're going to look at how you're seated when you work. You want to make sure that your wrists and your arms are at the most natural position possible, which again is close to that 90 degree angle. Right angles is what I like to say. Keeping your wrists and everything flat and not going up or down as it comes to the keyboard. Just depends on the setup, but sometimes that might require a wrist rest for your keyboard or for the mouse or both. The more we can keep it at a natural position, the better off you're going to be. Since you guys do work so often and you are mousing quite a bit, it's going to be a real key area to watch out for. So once we get to that point, we're going to look up to the monitor. Typically, you don't want to be any closer than 20 inches away. That's typically about arm's length away to get a good estimate of what that is. There's no real guideline as how far back you can be, but just based on comfort. But I wouldn't go any closer than 20 inches or so. Where you want to be on your monitor is about to the top of the monitor. So if you're looking at the screen, it's going to be looking right at the top edge of the screen, or maybe slightly down. If you've got glasses, if you've got bifocals, if you've got different things like that, you may want to have it a little bit farther down because you've got to look down. You don't want to be looking up to get those lenses to work correctly. So keep that in mind too for your own situation. Once we look at that, really want to make sure that everything's within an easy reach. So if you're having to reach way across the table to get something, or the phone or whatever else, kind of setting things up around your computer and your desk space that make it work for you. That gets overlooked a lot, but if you're on the phone quite a bit or if you're moving quite a bit, to get things that can cause issues too. So kind of keeping those things in mind too. So those are kind of the main things that I look at right away. And again, it kind of depends on the situation, but and how you're seated. It's a little bit more challenging if you're taller or shorter. Typically, we've got a lot of folks that'll use a footrest if you're a little bit shorter or your legs are shorter. That's really important. It can really cause some issues with your legs, numbness and things like that. So want to make sure we get that taken care of too. This is kind of the outline that we came up with. We worked on this with our workers' comp carrier actually, and we kind of combined some of the things we do with some of the recommendations they have as well, and what I've come up with also. And I'll share this with you guys. I'll just kind of flip through it and just kind of talk about some of the things that I, again, focus on with your job. I look at, the biggest thing I look at with a chair is going to be lumbar support. If you have a chair, a lot of the ones we have, I shouldn't say all of them, a lot of them have a lumbar support located in the back of the chair. You can move up and down. If you don't have that, there are things you can buy for a chair to put around it that can create that lumbar curve. You can kind of see how your back's designed to be, and the more you can get it to that point, the better off you're going to be. So that's one key thing when it comes to chairs. Another thing to note too, a lot of people don't understand or don't know how their chair works. Ask someone at your desk in your area if you're not sure. Most of the chairs have multiple functions, so that includes possibly the lumbar, the seat pan might go in and out, that kind of thing. So make sure you look at that to adjust those things that may have gotten way out of whack, and that can be causing most of your issues. So take a look at that too. And some of the things that would apply here are going to be, of course, repetitive motion. Now we're not going to be lifting a whole lot here. We've got the mouse, so if you have to turn around and you're moving at your desk, turning your whole body instead of twisting your body, that's going to be really important. As well as changing your task as much as you can. You know, every hour or so, if you have other tasks that you can do that are quick tasks, you can change to. Anything you can do to change your position frequently can help to keep from muscles to tighten up and that kind of thing. So those kind of things are important too. And what we're really talking about when we talk about ergonomic injuries, it's called cumulative trauma disorder. It's a variety of things that can happen with the muscles, tendons, nerves. Definitely posture and position and repetition, of course, is what you guys do a lot of, can cause that. So we want to make sure that we definitely keep an eye on those kind of things too. And here's some of the things that I talked about, and really the phrase for what I call this is called neutral position or neutral posture. So trying to get in the most relaxed or in common and straight position you can. And I got some tips that are in here, and like I said, I'll share this with you, but some of the things that come up quite a bit that I'll kind of point out here too. The monitor position can be really important. If you're too close, that can cause an issue, and in some cases, if you're too far away. So try and keep that arm's length away or so. If you've got two monitors, whatever one you use the most, you're going to want to center that more towards you. If you use them both, I would center the middle between the two screens, right down the middle. So you're kind of dividing that, so you're not turning that much. You're utilizing both screens. Different things you can do as far as vision go. You can turn that brightness control up, turn the contrast down. I'm sorry, the opposite. Turn the contrast high, turn the brightness low. Really brings out the finer points in the screen. That can help. If you've got glasses, or even if you don't get regular eye exams, make sure you keep that up in case there are issues that come up down the line that can cause issues and cause you to try and strain or move your body to try and see, and that's not a good thing either. That can cause problems. So regular eye care is a good thing too. Looking at the, like I mentioned, the posture, keeping your spine head upright, shifting positions. I mentioned the lumbar support, that's really important too. As far as the lower extremities too, make sure that if your feet don't rest on the floor, again, that you get a footrest or something to keep those feet flat. The seat pan typically adjusts on all of our chairs, not every single one, but most of them. You want to make sure there's about an inch or two between the back of the seat, or back of your knee and the seat. That's something that's often overlooked too. That can help you keep in the right position too. And of course, I mentioned too before, making sure there's clearance between under your desk so you can get underneath there, so you can get close enough to your workstation so you're not stretching. That can be a problem too. Inside this workbook we've got, pretty much what I've gone through as far as the areas of comfort as far as setting up a workstation. So when I share this, you can feel free to use this and take it to your workstation and kind of get an idea of what it should look like. And it might give you ideas on how to get rid of some issues if you do have them going on. I mentioned age-related issues with vision. As you do get older, sometimes eyes do change quite a bit. Make sure you do get regular checks as far as eye strain and eye care. But those things can cause us to try and modify how we look at the screen, how we look at our work, and that can cause us to be in a bad position. So I've seen that happen quite often, and where eye care and glasses take care of the issue by itself because now we're not straining. So, okay. Another thing I'd like to mention too, and I've done this myself too, is there are glasses that are specifically designed for computer work. They usually call them a computer eyewear or computer glasses. That might be a little bit more suited towards the work that you guys do. They can be difficult if you've got bifocals because you're having to turn your head up and down to kind of to squint or to get more of a solid view of what you're looking at. So it's something that might be in your something that might relate to. You may want to look at that. It may certainly help. Of course, the ambient light, task lighting around your computer can definitely help. If you have issues looking and seeing things when it's darker, a little extra light, maybe a desk lamp might help too, and making sure that might help you as well. Font size, of course, always can help. Just different things you can use with the equipment that you have to try and make sure that you put yourself in the best position you can be. I mentioned taking breaks too. One thing that I try to focus on is that 20-20 rule at the bottom there. Every 20 minutes of work or so, look away for 20 seconds or so away. Focus on an object about 20 feet away. Close your eyes, open them again. It just protects your eyes a little bit and keeps them from getting too focused on the work, and it can really help reduce eye strain, which can be a real issue too. So. I mentioned a little bit here about stretching before. It's something that can be done. It can be done, every hour, twice a day, or as a group. It can really help keeping your wrists and that kind of thing from becoming too stiff. Definitely want to make sure you warm up. It talks about that a little bit. That's just generally, walking around a little bit. Every once in a while, taking a break, getting away from your desk. But there are some stretching exercises in here. Feel free to take a look at these. They do help quite a bit when you work on the computer a lot. We've done that in our department too, and it does help a lot. So take a look at these and consider doing some of these too when you look through the booklet. And again, a lot of this stuff doesn't need to take a whole lot of time. I know you guys have got deadlines and that kind of stuff, so kind of do it to what caters to what you guys need to do. But just kind of gives you a guideline as far as all the different things to think about with ergonomics. There are quite a few things, but like I mentioned today, some of the things I focused on were things that really come up and crop up with folks that use the mouse a lot or usually on the computer a lot. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to work with you on these things too. Just feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call. I'd be happy to work with you. So any questions at all?
Anybody?
Like I said, I'll share it with you guys.
Yeah, I'll
good.
email it out when I email the video out.
Sounds
so
good.
You can all look through it.
That worked out well because my voice is almost gone.
Okay.
So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you for coming.
Mhm.
All right, with that, I'm going to let you all get back to work, unless anybody has any questions for me about anything in general. Okay, I'll send out this information, the video, and then this booklet, so you've got it. And just let me know if you need anything from me. And again, let me know if you don't have InDesign 2017. Thank you.